Hello, dear friends. We are starting another chapter of Harvest of Light by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier here at Cardiac Radio. This is the book in Portuguese, Ceifa de Luz. This book was psychographed in 1972, published in 1979. If we recall, as people are entering in, we are reading chapter 24, and it's been 25 days. And the preface that Emmanuel wrote talks about the prayer for light. In this prayer, he even asks God to help for elevated thoughts. So many of us have this question: how do I elevate my thoughts? I ask God, like Emmanuel is teaching us. And in this prayer for light, he begins this book with the key word, understanding. In every single chapter, he's going to repeat the key word, understanding, 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 without which we don't understand anything. And we'll see why. Spiritism comes to us as a beautiful way of revisiting the Christ conscious proposal. If I could summarize the basics of Spiritism, it's in 5 tenets: existence of God, existence of the soul, the immortality of the soul, reincarnation, life in different planets, multitude of the inhabited planets, and mediumship, communication of spirits. These are the 5 pillars, and throughout we're going to revisit the Christ consciousness. Jesus brought to us that God is at the center of our lives, and as such, everything else is just a natural consequence of the laws of God. No wonder we're going to read in the Spirits book by Allan Kardec, in its 4 parts, the unfoldment of the science of it all. Spiritism is a science that has moral consequences. So it's very important for us to use our reasoning, no longer blind faith. And that's why Emmanuel is using in this book, Harvest of Life, the keyword understanding. Because in order to achieve this illumination, we need understanding. And understanding cannot come true if we don't use our reasoning. And as you know, in neuroscience, we learned that the prefrontal cortex is the area of our brains where we're processing our discernment. Exactly. So for us, it's new. The animals, they cannot process what we process, like consciousness and free will. They don't have it. They have instincts. We do have instincts, but more than instincts, we have our reasoning and our choices, free choices, right? I guess people are in, and we are about to begin the chapter of today. This is the recap that will lead us today into the understanding of this chapter 24. And I tell you this, chapter 24 is striking. It's strong, it's concentrated. Are you ready? You have a glass of water? Are you seated? Because this chapter has only 4 paragraphs, but it's the deepest. You are, Olivia. Wonderful. So shall we, friends? Chapter 24. The title is Even Higher. That's the title. Even Higher. And he's quoting, Emmanuel quotes from Luke chapter 6, verse 32. Jesus said, if you only love those who love you, What credit is that to you? I thought that was already the deal. Wait. Let's wait for Emmanuel's explanation. He says, evidently, it is always easy to cherish those who love us, to value those who serve us, to support those who applaud us, to rejoice with those who rejoice in our presence, to stand in solidarity with those who follow us, to praise those who revere us, to assist grateful companions, and to work with those who are attuned with us. In Jesus, however, life impels us to higher directives. It is necessary to excuse the offenders and to pray for them, to understand those who disturb us, to respect those who disapprove of us, to bless those who create us problems. It is necessary to acknowledge the causes of all the good of all, even when they come from those who do not share our point of view. It is necessary to admire the opponents in what they prove useful, to assist the indifferent, and it's necessary assist the indifferent or incomprehensible brothers and sisters, and to contribute to good works with those who disregard or to antagonize us, or those who disregard or antagonize us. As it is easy to note, everything pleases when it comes to acting according to living standards that flatter our personality. However, in order to serve with the Christ, it is necessary to collaborate in the construction of the kingdom of love, with the obligation to raise ourselves higher, to forget our own selfishness, and to accomplish something different. I'm going to ask you this question. How do you feel when Emmanuel breaks it down, the news, breaks the news to us? How do you feel? You feel good, like surprised, in awe, like, huh, what? It's like, is that the expression, like, what? Right? Like the minions, Unspeakable Me, like, what? Ay, ay, ay. This lesson is the deepest. In simply 4 paragraphs, Emmanuel reveals to us more things to be done. Saul Souza is saying, I feel surprised. I agree with you. But remember, Jesus said it. It is easy to love those who love us, but what credit is there? Luke 6:32. 2,000 years have passed. How do we do it? Is it possible? So let's talk a little bit about our physiology. Huh? Because what Jesus is proposing to us is something that apparently does not match our physiology. Why am I saying this? Because we have been built to preserve ourselves, which means if something comes contrary to our preservation, we push that away. Our sympathetic system will protect us by saying fight or flight. Either you fight those or you run away. But staying together, let's stay together, loving you ever. No, That is not in our physiology, apparently. So how do we, in our physiology, find the foundation to make this happen? We need to verify that Jesus is not asking something impossible. He's asking us something that is possible. How is that possible? When I see somebody who doesn't like us, how do you feel? Your heart beats faster, you feel threatened, right? When somebody is against you, it's a threat to you, right? So what's the trick? How is it possible for us to be side by side and learn to love those who don't love us, who antagonize us, who criticize us, etc., etc.? Where in our physiology there is a tool for this? In the most advanced cortical area of our brain. The prefrontal cortex, right? The prefrontal cortex. Yes, you're right. We're talking about, before we take action, how do we feel comfortable physically to take action, even praying? You don't pray for a snake. The snake is coming. The bear is coming after you and you're like, oh God, please, I pray that this bear stays strong and healthy. No, we run away because that is a threat. The snake is coming. Oh God, I love the snake and the snake is coming after you. It's impossible. So how? What's the trick? In the prefrontal cortex, we have a button we can click to give a new meaning to it. My brain dictates, I can dictate whether this is a threat or not. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. You're gonna feel so free, me too, thanks to the good spirit. What are they saying? And that's a physiological step. It's a cognitive and physiological step. The minute I reassess how I see them, and I no longer label them as a threat to me. But how do I do it? I am a child of God. They are children of God. So they are not a threat? No. This shall pass? Yes. Will there be a day that we will be together? Yes. Visualize that day. Does that mean that Jesus is telling you to allow yourself to be abused? No. He's saying, don't hold grudges. Understand. Don't curse. Understand. Don't cast stones at your enemies. Understand them. Seek the good. Feel the good. Visualize the good. And mold the good with all the resources at hand. Ta-da. Yeah, that's understanding, chapter 10 of the book Thought and Life. So when I reassess by using my reasoning, saying, we're progressing, now they're probably at fault because they shouldn't be doing this. Like the people who are crucifying Jesus. God, please forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And we tell people, this bear doesn't know that he shouldn't be attacking me. The snake shouldn't be biting me. The dog shouldn't be attacking me. And this person, or these people, or those people, they don't know what they're doing. They are out of their mind. They are in a state of mental illness. They are in a state of weakness. As once Jesus said to Peter, Peter, most often than not, people are more fragile than evil. Most often than not, people are more fragile than evil. And that's why we play like tribes, sometimes in families, in communities, nations, like a tribe. This is my tribe, so I feel safe. If somebody's different, boom. If they don't play my game, they are the enemy. And I attack, boom, boom, boom. And the other one's like, what have I done wrong? You are not like us, so you must be evil. That's why we're attacking you. And that's the rationale of people on the earth, which is irrational. It's very animalistic. But we raise above the animal instincts and become human. Use our understanding. Revisit. We are children of God. That person is not a threat. Actually, that person is a brother or sister in God. Okay, we probably cannot be friends right now because they are out of their minds. But I'll pray for them so they come to their senses. And that's what Peter recommended to the whole community at the House of the Way. And you can read this in the book Paul and Stephen. When he was telling the people there, let's pray for Saul of Tarsus. One day, he is going to understand Jesus and he's going to be the greatest servant of the Christ. So they prayed and prayed and prayed because they could see Saul of Tarsus far from being a threat, but as a brother. As somebody who is destined to be better. Beyond that moment of weakness, of mental illness. And in that, they were able to pray. They were able to help. They were able to be together without feeling him as a threat. So, they are asking us to go higher in our humanity. Higher in our humanity. We're very animalistic when we cross a line and say, this is it, that person is no longer in my life. And I make a list and I say that person and I X that person from my life. That is a moment of illusion. It's animalistic. Because there will be a day that we'll be together, loving you ever, ever. Times are good or bad, happy or sad. Yes, let's stay together. Really, that's gonna happen. I know you and I may be like, there are days we cry and we are enraged and we feel angry. Okay, forgive your humanity. But how long you're going to stay in that state? 1,000,000 days? Or just for a season? Okay, but get yourself out of that state quickly. Don't hold grudges. Look at them and say, oh man, one day they're gonna open their eyes. Meanwhile, I pray. Meanwhile, I see the good that they are doing. I say, wow, beautiful. Am I telling you, or are they telling you to vouch for criminal actions? No. They are just talking about those who antagonize us. They are saying, excuse the offenders and pray for them. Understand those who disturb us. Respect those who disapprove of us. Bless those who create us problems. They are not saying, get rid of justice. If somebody kills somebody in your family, then you're going to say, oh, you're a brother of mine, I'm so sorry, and you don't turn them to the police. No, you turn them to the police, but you pray for them, you visit them in jail, and we learn to forgive. To acknowledge the causes of all the good that comes from those who don't share our points of view. How many good things exist? Think about politics. How many good things different parties do? And we need to say, that's a good move, because that's the good for all. Of all. It's not only ours. The same in a family. You're upset with somebody. They did a good deed and you're like, that person is X. And then you start cursing. I don't believe in the good that they are doing. They must have a hidden agenda. Right? And we say, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing. Hopefully, we're not going to be the ones discrediting people when they do the good. So he says, it's easy when people come and flatter our personality. It's about ego. That's why he talks about personality. He talks about selfishness. He said, these are passing things. They're going to pass. They're going to pass. Remember when we studied the book 15 Cases of Previous Lives by Amália Domingo Soler? And she, time and again, told us accounts of people, how they reincarnated. This life, they didn't value those who were not on the same page. The next life, they were in the same family. So for us, it's an invitation. And he says to us, it is necessary. Necessary means it's vital. It's about life. It's about vitality. Because it talks about needs. It's about life. To collaborate in the construction of the kingdom of love, he says. With the duty to raise ourselves higher, to forget ourselves, our selfishness, and to accomplish something different. So that's our homework in the next 24 hours. To accomplish something different. And I think Rudy is right when he's quoting chapter 3 from Thought in Life. He's talking about, what is that? Cooperation? Yes, cooperation. Chapter 1 is about the mirror of life. Chapter 2 is will. 3 is cooperation. Right, Rudy? Am I mistaken? So, it's inevitable. For us to progress, we need to collaborate and fulfill. Thank you, Rudy. Thank you for bringing that up. That's why we're in the classroom. With the duty to raise ourselves higher and forget our selfishness. How often people do beautiful projects and people sabotage the beautiful project because they didn't got the beautiful ideas. So they tell all of their friends, no, who is that person? And I tell you this, Peter was the one living side by side with Jesus. But when Saul of Tarsus became Paul, he didn't say, Saul, who are you to do this? I've been here for 10,000 years. I've been working on this with my group for 10,000 years. That is selfishness. Why only you can do the good? Why only you can work with the teens and youth? What about the rest of the world? What if they have a mission as well? Especially when we are educators and we've been working with adolescents our whole life. Why only you in your group? Why? Why, if you have a position, can't somebody from the middle of nowhere like Chico Xavier start bringing beautiful things? Why does he need a special title? You see, if Jesus were here now, we would crucify him again. Because he doesn't have a title. Because he doesn't have a tribe. And that's how we are. Often we read this message and we think of ourselves as the victims, but often we're playing the antagonizers of people's lives. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this, friends? When we are the ones creating the mess, we are the ones being selfish, thinking that the good causes are our copyright. Only those who are under that jurisdiction, with those titles, with those friends, can do that good. Anybody else, they are not entitled to it. Who owns the good but God? And that happens in families. It happens in families. Sometimes you have a mother who loves to cook. And then, because she wants to be the master chef, she doesn't allow her kid to be the cook. And there are disputes, competition in a family between son and fathers, daughters and mothers, because there is a jurisdiction. And we become the antagonizer of the new generation. Right, Valeria? So often we read this thinking, oh, I need to pray for those who trespassed against us. But what if we are the ones trespassing against others? Thinking that we are the sole owners of the good. You know who owns the good? Nobody, just God. And if God calls Saul of Tarsus, who was after the followers of Jesus, and says, come here, can you help us? And he says, okay, now I get it, I will. Imagine if Peter hadn't given him a chance. We wouldn't be here today. Because it was Paul of Tarsus who brought these teachings of Christ beyond the circle, the Hebrew circles. Because were it for those who were the closest, we wouldn't know. He was the one who went to the Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? We are. I have no Jewish descendants. I don't have any ancestor who is Jewish, which means that were it not for Paul coming to the Gentiles, my generations wouldn't have known of the teachings of Christ, and hopefully neither would you, unless you have a Jewish background. And even there, you wouldn't have known. Because the teachings were, at the end of the day, suffocated. in those lines. So now we have the copyright that's called selfishness and a lot of flattered personality. And we get the big guys who have titles, temporary titles, to back us up. That's a sign that they are not doing the good. Because when we are truly Christians, especially Christian spiritists, we applaud the good, wherever it came from. Good job. Wow. Beautiful. It came from the other corner of the world. Wow. That's what Emmanuel is telling us. So there is a two side here. Exactly, Wagner Jr. We never think we are the trespassers, but think about this. Now, on the other side, are we the ones who are creating problems, who are disturbing others, who are disapproving others, who are not acknowledging the good that others are doing, who are not admiring those who prove themselves useful? Are we the ones who are being indifferent and incomprehensible? Sometimes in our family, sometimes at work, sometimes in our community, sometimes in the spiritist community. So tonight, the lesson asks us to do something different, which is a twofold action. One, to revisit how we visualize those as a threat in our lives and see, no, they are not a threat. So my parasympathetic system can certainly calm down, feel relaxed. Okay? And the second is, am I the one pushing? That's the homework for us, to do something different in that regard tomorrow when we come back, chapter 25, Law and Life. Do not kill, says the law. Do not frustrate the tasks of others. Tomorrow, Emmanuel is not easy. This is really the CrossFit of the soul. Huh? This book is the CrossFit of the soul. I'll leave you to the thoughts of the proposal to do something different, and I'll also work on this myself. Meanwhile, we pray for everyone and one another. A kiss and a hug and lots of blessings, friends.